Hello, my name is Sid Jacobs. Today we're going to take a look at some of the vocabulary that makes up the language of jazz guitar. Some people say that jazz improvising is about scales and arpeggios, but this is an oversimplification and it doesn't accurately describe the true nature of jazz, and this is particularly true of the bebop dialect, which is more about embellishing guide tones. But we'll talk more about that as we progress through the video. To start, we'll take a quick look at the diatonic scales and take a look at an easy way to visualize them all over the neck. Now, I remember when I had to learn the 5 positions of the major scales in all the keys, it seemed like a lot of work, and it was. But within these 5 positions, there are recurring patterns, and by using these patterns and adding a simple position shift with the index finger, you're instantly playing 3-octave scales with symmetrical fingerings. Now, this is invaluable for the improviser because in each octave, the scale tone or chord tone is played with the same finger. And this allows you to instantly respond to musical situations or improvise by reflex. Let's take a look at the C major scale. Starts on the note B, and the fingering is 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 4. Here we go, 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 4. And then we land on the note A, on the 4th string. We make the position shift up to B, a whole step. We're on the same note that we started. Once again, 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 4. We adjust for the 2nd string. 1, 1, 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 4. So all we have to remember is 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 4, 1, 1. It's 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 4, 1, 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 4, 1, 1, 2, 4. So there it is, 3-octave scales, first lesson, no problem. It's a lot simpler. Another pattern we see in the C major scale is from the 5th position, starting on A, 1, 3, 4, 1, 3, 4. We land on G, on the 5th fret, the 4th string. We go 1, 1, 1, 3, 4, 1, 3, 4 again. Adjust for the 2nd string. 1, 1, 3, 4, 1, 3, 4. There we are, 3-octave scale. 1, 3, 4, 1, 3, 4, 1, 1, 3, 4, 1, 3, 4, 1, 1, 3, 4, 1, 3. So now that we've taken a look at the 3-octave major scale, let's talk a little bit about the modes. And very briefly, the modes are commonly explained as scales that start on different degrees of the major scale. Like the Dorian mode starts on the 2nd degree, the Phrygian mode starts on the 3rd degree, and so forth. But this word starts causes a lot of problems, a lot of confusion for students not yet able to discriminate between music theory and music truth. For example, if the bassist is playing a D in the bottom and the chording instrument is playing a D minor 7th, D minor 11th, D minor 13th, the Dorian mode is already established or started when you play any note from the C major scale. I'm playing Dorian mode regardless of the first note of your phrase. You're playing in the Dorian mode. So I hope this clarifies what's really a simple concept that causes a lot of confusion. Now let's take a look at the harmonic minor scale. The only difference between the notes of the C major and the A harmonic scale is that you play a G sharp instead of a G natural for A harmonic. So the shift from G to A would now become G sharp to A, but the fingering would remain the same. 1, 1, 3, 4, 1, 3, 4. 1, 1, 3, 4, 1, 3, 4, adjust for the 2nd string. 1, 1, 3, 4, 1, 3, 4. Very simple. First lesson, harmonic minor scales, all keys, no problem. All right, continuing with the fingering philosophy, the difference between C major and C melodic minor is that the E natural becomes E flat for C melodic. So in this fingering, we'll have 1, 3, 4, 1, 2, 4. The 2 is now E flat. So we have 1, 3, 4, 1, 2, 4, 1, 1, 3, 4, 1, 2, 4, 1, 1, 3, 4, 1, 2, 4. All right, so there's a 3-octave melodic minor scale right off the bat. All right, now, I first came up with these fingerings. I was playing a bebop line, this line with a surround note. All right, so I was embellishing the A, the 3rd of the F7th, which is F Lydian dominant is another way of saying C melodic minor. This is the same scale. So So that fingering is 1, 4, 1, 1, 1. And the same fingering scale, the fingering for the scale rather, 1, 3, 4, 1, 2, 4. And then we play that idea again. 3, 4, 1, 3, 4, 1, 4, 1, 1, 1. So for an F7th, because your fingers are always on the same note with these scale patterns, you can base your arpeggio fingerings from the scale. For example, we have this 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 4, 1, 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 4. We go C major 7th, B, C, E, G, 1, 2, 1, 4. Next position, 1, 2, 1, 4, and the next position, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 4. Today I'm being accompanied by my good friend and great guitar player, Ron Berman. And Ron's been an inspiration, and I just only hope that when he does his video, he'll call me to accompany him. Sometimes we add a triad or 7th chord arpeggio above a root. Like, for example, an A minor above an F will sound like an F major 7th. So here's an F major 7th chord. Now there's an A minor sound. There's the F. There's the A minor 7th triad. I mean, A minor 7th chord, rather. And then here's, all right. And then in reverse, here have A minor. So here's the A minor. Now, with my right hand, I'm picking down, up, 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 down, up, up, down, up. So that's one way that you can mix these ideas of combining triads and 7th chords. Now here's the E minor 7th above the C major. Here's the C. So let me show you this fingering. It's 1, 2, 4. Now down, down, down. Now, when I get to the D, it's a downstroke. Other modern sounding uses for triads and polychords, we have triad pairs. For example, F major and G major triads. They come from the C major scale. They also come from the C melodic minor scale. Now we'll try using this over F major 7 sharp 11, D minor to G 7th, C major 7th. All those chords are part of the C major family. So right now I'll just have a D minor and a G 7th. Now this is an F major triad, F, A, C. And this is G, B, D, root position. Now watch the fingering, because it might not be your first choice of fingering. We might think of going like this, but I'm going to try and lay out the fingers so we'll always be prepared for the next note. So we have F, A, C, G, B, D. Now first inversion, A, C, F. First inversion G, 1, 3, 4. So we'll do a little reach there. So our first finger is now laid up, ready to play first inversion of the F triad. And there's the second inversion of the F triad. And then here's the second inversion of the G triad. So the line sounds like this. All right, now this also works with the chords from melodic minor, because the 4th and the 5th degree of melodic minor is also F and G. So Chords from C melodic minor, we have F Lydian dominant or B seventh altered. That's sometimes referred to as the Hendrix chord. So B seventh altered, and here's the same sound. So that's an interesting and modern approach to using these triad pairs to get a little bit more modern sound. Another triad pair you can experiment with is F major and B major, and let me just give you the sound of that. Here's the F major, B major, F major. Now let me quickly look at the fingering. 1, 4, 4, 2, 1, 4, 3, 4, 2. Now the fingering is identical on the next set of two strings. 1, 4, 4, 2, 1, 4, 3, 4, 2. So let's 1. Now 1, 4, 4. Now here's a B triad, F triad, B triad, F triad, B triad, F triad, B triad, F triad, B. So that's one way that you can use these triad pairs to get a modern sound. I'm sure you might find something in there to make use of. Now, I know that when I was first going to music school and I wanted to learn about jazz, they told me to learn the triads and all the inversions, and I thought, that's not what I want. That's not the sound. I want the exotic sounds, the sharp nines, the flat 13s, you know, all these jazz chords. I didn't want the cowboy sounds, but now I had to relearn all my triads and all my inversions. So back to F and B. Let's take a look at F. There's one inversion. B, F, B, F, B, F. Now, here's F with the B in the bass, and you kind of get that sound. And this will even work with the F7 flat 9 flat 5 and the B7 flat 9 flat 5. So here's the F chord with the B in the bass. Here's a B chord with the C in the bass. That's the fifth of F, and it's the next note up on that string. Now here's the F triad with the D sharp in the bass. That's the third of the B and the next note up on that string. Continuing, here's B with the F in the bass, F with the F sharp in the bass, that's the fifth of B, and here's the B triad with the A in the bass, and that's the seventh. So here we have the sound. All right, and that's the little chordal part of the theory that we just covered with the lines from the triad pairs. Okay, another triad pair that we can look at is F major and G augmented. Now, those are that's the fourth degree and the fifth degree of the melodic minor. I know I said that the fourth and fifth degree was F major and G major, but it's also F major and G augmented. So this is F major, 1, 4, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm talking fingers now when I'm saying numbers. So 1, 4, 4, F, 3, 2, 1, G augmented. Now I'm alternating between the two chords and the inversions. Now second inversion, F, and then G augmented, second inversion. First in root position, F, 2, 1, 4, 4, 3, 2, G augmented, root position. Then I'm going first inversion for both chords, second inversion, F, G, F, G augmented, F, here's an F, G augmented, F, G augmented, F, G augmented. So the sound of that, let's say we're playing a B altered. Now the basic C major triad doesn't sound much like a jazz chord, especially for those of us in search of exotic alterations. But before you dismiss the innocent triad, there's some useful and simple applications you can consider. For example, here's the triad. Now we can just embellish it by approaching each note by a half step. Now this works, of course, for the C chord, but also works for a progression in the key of C. You don't have to make all the changes because a 1, 6, 2, 5 in the key of C still surrounds the C. Now, one very common alteration, way we outline the chord is we'll go scale step above the C in the key of C is a D. Half step below is a B. Same for E, scale step above is an F to the E, half step below. And then scale step above the G is an A, and then half step below. Okay, and we can do scale step above, half step below, and then the note. So instead of going, we'll just go. I know those of you who've been listening to a little bit of jazz recognize that cliche, but that's where the cliches come from. It's a very simple technique of embellishing the chord tones. So when I realized that I didn't have to outline every chord change and still make a meaningful musical statement, boy, it was a big load off my shoulders. Now the 1, 6, 2, 5, 1 in C will sometimes look like 2 beats of C, 2 beats of A7th altered, 2 beats of D minor and 2 beats of G7th. Now the A7th altered throws many students at first. Now there's 2 ways to deal with it, and one is forget about it, don't even worry about it. The C major idea and the related ideas will work. But if you want to imply the A7th chord change, simply play the C sharp note, which is the 3rd of the A7th. This is one of the guide tones. And the sound of the D minor to the G7th is achieved simply by playing the 7th and the 3rd. The C is the 7th of the D minor, and you get the sound of D minor moving to G7th by just moving that note down a half step. So you can hear the changes because there's the guide tones, and the embellishment of the guide tones are a big part of the bebop language. Now, just for a quick example of what I mean, this is an F and a C. Now that's the 3rd and the 7th of the D minor. Now I've implied G7th, and when the 7th of the G7th, which is F, subconsciously, without it being played, we hear as the root. Check it out. You see? You can kind of hear it. And you're hearing that as the root. So that's a motion, the 7th and the 3rd, the guide tones, that are a big part of the bebop vocabulary. For example, this is a very typical bebop phrase. What you're hearing within that, the highest note, and then it ends here. So we've got that motion. You hear it don't you? And another typical phrase. So that's what I mean about the embellishment of the guide tones as being part of the bebop language. Now, let's say we have this G minor 7th chord. Now here's G minor 7th. Here's the 3rd and the 7th. 7th moves to 3rd. And then F major 7th. There's the resolution. So I'll play this G, B flat, and F. Just move one note. Sounds like C 7th. Melody note, I'll put my little finger down on the A and the D. And then move this. There's the F major 7th. And then play the melody C and G. Now this looks like an A minor 7th chord, but the phrase sounds more like that's the root. So even though the root isn't being played, you hear it. Now here's the basic phrase. Now a jazz player might take a simple melody like this and embellish it. Clifford Brown, for example, used a phrase like that, and he would do something. So this is that G minor, embellished from above chromatically, and then the C 7th from below. Now, the following example uses 3rds and 7ths, so you can hear a blues progression. Now, here would be a blues in B flat, 7th and 3rd. Now, I just went to the 4 chord, the 7th of the B flat 7th, A flat, and D. The A flat moves to G, the 3rd of E flat 7th. There's the 7th. So this is the 1 chord, so the 4 chord, B flat, E flat, B flat, E flat. Now to G 7th, there's the 3rd and the 7th, C minor, 7th and 3rd, F 7th, B flat, G 7th, C minor, F 7th. And with the blues scale, and the turnaround. Now, in this example of a blues in B flat, I'm going to use 3rds and 7ths to suggest a blues progression. Now, these simple shapes of only 2 notes make accompanying yourself a real possibility, and actually quite simple. And usually for comping, they're usually your best choice. Okay, this is a B flat 7th. And this is the 7th and the 3rd. The 7th moves to the 3rd of E flat 7th. And then here we have the E flat 7th. So here's the 1 chord, B flat, E flat 7th. There's the 4 chord. So in a blues, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. The 4 chord, 1 chord, B flat, and then there's the 1, the 2, 5, turn around, C minor, F7, and the turnaround. Now let's move on to looking at fourths. To begin our examination of how we might apply fourths, which is a pretty modern sound, but we'll start with the fourth triad. Now, in traditional harmony, when we learn triads, we learned inversions. So we'll do this with the fourths as well. So we should become familiar with the fourth shapes. Now, here's perfect fourths: A, D, G. Those are fourths: A, D, G, A, D, G. So here, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Go up to the highest note in the phrase. All right, so this is, now in case you're not familiar with fourths, very common sound in modal music and modal jazz. But that can get a little, sounds good, but it can get a little boring, so we want to get some of the inversions worked in there. So there's one inversion, another inversion, and another. So let's take that phrase, 4, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 4, and I'll just vary it a little bit, just 1, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now, if we want to get a little outward bound with this sound, we can go up chromatically with these inversions. That's the next inversion, the next inversion, and then, so the sound would. So, now, just a little explanation about fourths. 5 notes in perfect fourths gives us the familiar pentatonic scale. Here's E, A, D, G, C, or C, D, E, G, A. That's the pentatonic scale. 7 notes in fourths: B, E, A, D, G, C, F. That gives us the major scale. If I rearrange those, I have C, D, E, F, G, A, B. Now, 12 perfect fourths yields the chromatic scale, another 12-step program that most musicians are quite familiar with. All right, so this is the first fourth triad. Now, if we're going to go up diatonically, this would be the key of C, and then B, E, A is in the key of C. Now, if I went from C, I have C, F, and it would be B natural, not B flat, because we're staying true to the C scale, or we're remaining diatonic. So it would be C, F, B, D, G, C, E, A, D, F, B natural, E. So we have a different shape there. G, C, F, and then we're back to where we started from. So we have C, F, B, D, G, C, D, G, C, E, A, D, E, A, D, and F, B, E, F, B, E. And G, C, F, G, C, F, and then we're back to where we started. All right, so one of the things that we can do to make lines and make use of these fourth triads, we'll take this fourth triad and move it in fifths. So I have B, that would be my starting note. I'll play the triad from there, the triad from F, and the triad from C. So that's one nice line. What I'm doing is I'm going up, when I get to the last one, I'll just go down the inversion, and I end on the same note I started. Then from D, it would be D, G, C, A, D, G, E, A, D. From E, E, A, D, F, F, B, E. From G, G, C, F, D, G, C, A. And then finally A, D, G, E. So that's one of the things we can do to make our lines. Now, just to find some other interesting lines that we can have, let's take fourths in melodic minor. A, D, G, A, D, G. Well, we haven't hit the E flat yet, so they'll be the same for C major and C melodic minor. Okay, from B would be, instead of B, E, A, B, E, A, it would be B, E flat, A, B. And then from C, C, F, B, C, F, B, same in both. From D, D, G, C, D, G, C. Same in both. Now we have E flat, A, D. And then F, B, E flat, F, B. And let's see, are we back to where we started from? And then from G, C, F, G, C, F. So now we're back to where we started from. So we've done the same thing we just did for the major scale for melodic minor in fourths. And the same kind of run, let's say we have B, E flat, A, go up in fifths, F, B, E flat, C, F, B. Nice line, huh? Right out of the textbook, though. C, F, B, G, C, F, D, G, C. And let's have a B altered. So you just hear how these things will sound in the context of a chord. That's starting on B. Here's that's from D, and from E flat. Oh, I like that one, yeah. That's E flat, A, D, B, E flat, A, F, B, E flat. So each one of them is an altered form of the fourths. Now we have F, B, E flat, C, F, B, G, C, F. Wow, there's so much to work on, huh? But let me just touch on a couple of the things with the fourths, because we also have, like I said, 12 tones. So here's, if we go 3-note chords in fourths, moving in minor thirds, 4 times 3 is 12. That's all 12 tones. So if you know the cycle of fourths, you see C, F, B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat, G flat, B, E, A, D, G, and we're back to where we started from. So let's say I wanted to use this as the upper parts of a D7 sharp 9. Like, where am I going to use this idea? Now I could also use that 12-tone fourth idea over the D7 sharp 9. So that's one way of manipulating some of these ideas. Now another thing that we can do with these, here's the same thing up a whole step, for an example. Now I can take D, G, C, and then play forwards and backwards. Or I could take this first phrase, invert it. Here's first inversion of that. And then this thing backwards and do the same thing to the next set of 6 notes. Now I've got a nice 12-tone line just by playing backwards and inverting. Combining with the previous idea we just did, so. And so similarly, what we can do with these fourth shapes, like 3-note fourths, moving in minor thirds, 4-note chord shapes in fourths. Look at this: F, B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat. Now I've just moved this shape down a major third. D flat, G flat, B, E, A, D, G, C. So this is all 12 tones. 4-note chords moved down in major thirds. Now this line might be a little cumbersome to play, so one of the things we can do, we can take this shape, for example, I'll take this one, and I'll put this A flat on the top string on the 4th string. And then this next shape here, I'll take the low note and put it up an octave. So I have, and then I'll take these 2 notes and put them up an octave. So make a nice 12-tone line. So say you have a B flat pedal. So that's a freedom square dance. All right, so some of the non-diatonic things we can do with fourths. Well, we have a tritone splits the octave into 2 parts. So we take a 4th interval and move it up in tritones. And that gives us a nice 4-note scale. Now this is, if I'm basing it on the A and the E flat, I might try that over an F7th chord. This is what happened when a lot of jazz musicians started to go to school and they started to study the music of the 20th century composers. They started to get into a little bit more of the modern concepts. And some of it involved atonal music. And so they would learn a line like this. I say, wow, that sounds good, but how am I going to use that in the music that I'm playing? Well, the A and the E flat. So this is some of the solutions that we've all come upon. Okay, so here's the A and the E flat. Now A and E flat, those are the color tones of the F7th. So if we heard an F7th chord, this is the 3rd, the 13th, the flat 7th, sharp 9. Now that's also going to work exactly the same for a B7th. So if we play the B7th, so we can go through the cycle of fifths, but so that's one of the ways that we can use that. Now, back to, if we split the octave into 3 equal parts, that's 12 divided by 3 equals 4. Okay, so this is college level music and 3rd grade arithmetic. So we have the augmented triad. Now if we play fourths along the augmented triad, that gives us the notes of the augmented scale, which are so if we had a C major 7 sharp 5, we might use this. But this will also work just as well for an E major 7 sharp 5. Or an A flat major 7 sharp 5. Okay, so just so you see what fingers I'm using, I've got 3, 4, 2, 3, 1, 2. And then 1, 2, 1, 2, and then that That's where I end up. Now, this is one of the things about symmetry. If I take this first scale that I did, which broke the octave into 2 equal parts, I start on A. I could also play exactly the same notes, different order of course, if I started on E flat. And similarly, what I just did with the augmented triad in fourths, I start on B, I could also start it on, and I'll end up with the same notes for C major 7 sharp 5. You listen. And if I start it on, so I'm going to accomplish the same thing, play the same notes, if I move it up in major thirds. Okay, now a scale that some of us are familiar with is the diminished scale, and we get that by playing the fourths. Here's a fourth interval, moved in minor thirds. And that gives us the notes of the diminished scale. That's the diminished scale, and here's the fourths. Now, sometimes you play stuff like this and it sounds a little like you're playing an exercise. So one of the ways to kind of change it around a little bit is pick it forward, backwards. You know, and do that with all your lines. You know, so you know, you have to avoid sounding like you're playing patterns, because that's the death of music. You know, it's so once you learn some of these theoretical examples, alter them slightly so they become your own. All right, now lastly, we can get all 12 tones by playing fourths in major seconds. So it'd be the whole tone scale in fourths gives us all the notes of the chromatic scale. And you can use that anywhere, over anything. Or forward, backwards. Forward, backwards, forward. Wow. What do we work on? There's hundreds of things to practice that we haven't even thought of yet. It's quite humbling. And every musician comes to this realization. Eventually, if you keep focused, you'll find your own voice, which was always there. And with that voice, you'll sing from your own experience and your own consciousness. This is creativity, the source of music and everything else. Some of us get hung up on how to organize our studies, how much to practice this or that, what do I work on. Too much emphasis, I think, is placed on concerns of organization and creating a style. If you just go straight ahead and work on whatever is compelling and relates to what you want to play, your voice will emerge naturally without forcing it. The energy will flow, and this is the reason we all love to improvise. So until next time, take care.